One of the recent controversies is that of Alistair Begg giving advice to a grandmother that she should attend the wedding of her grandson that included a transgender person. And a lot of people have been very upset about that, and some networks have dropped Alistair Begg's program over this, and a lot of people are struggling with what is going on. So the question I want to ask is, was his advice on attending a wedding, and we can widen this, I suppose, to attending a same-sex wedding as well as transgendered. Is it right for a Christian to attend? Was Alistair Begg wrong here? Is this something that he should repent of? Well, I want to preface by saying that when it comes to Alistair Begg, I don't have any agenda. I am not a fan, and I'm not a critic. I don't really pay much attention to what he does. He runs in more reform circles than I do, and would be quite a bit more conservative than I am. But I am interested in this discussion, and I think many people were surprised that such a conservative pastor would give that advice. But I would actually say that I completely agree with Alistair Begg here, at least with the advice of attending the wedding. Now, one thing we need to do is to clarify what he said. So in the full interview, he doesn't say, hey, just go and show your support and it's going to be wonderful. He actually asks her questions, and for Alistair Begg, it was important to for that grandmother to make sure that the grandson knew about her views on this wedding and that kind of relationship. And so that was an important part of it. So if you're going to criticize Alistair Begg, make sure you criticize him for what he actually said, which was make sure that they are clear on your position, but attend the ceremony and purchase a gift. And he goes on to say that they will be perhaps shocked by that act of love rather than being offended by the absence, which would probably close any relationship for further spiritual conversations. So I am sure that there are lots of people who disagree whether a same-sex wedding is okay in the first place, or a wedding that includes a transgender person or two transgender people. That is another question, and I'm going to put that off to the side. So we're just going to, for the sake of argument, assume that that is something that Christians, that some Christians are going to be not comfortable with. And whether that is okay or not, again, we're going to just hold that off for another conversation. So for the sake of argument, we're going to assume that that is a difficulty. Should family members or even friends attend a same-sex wedding or a wedding that includes a transgender person? And I think one of the concerns there for many people is if you attend the wedding, the assumption is that you are saying, hey, I approve of this wedding and every aspect of it. And I don't think that that is necessarily true. I am sure that many people have attended weddings in which one or both people were divorced, and not necessarily a divorce over adultery or abuse. And yet we go, and maybe we have some questions, and we wonder, was that divorce for good reasons? Was it because the person just fell out of love with their previous spouse and then after a period of time, found someone else and they got married. A lot of Christians would attend that. They might have some misgivings, but they would show their support to that person. Or what about when a Christian marries a non-Christian? When that happens, we might again have some concerns about it, but we might show up and be supportive because we want to have an influence on that couple and hopefully help them to come closer to Christ. Those are the kinds of things that a lot of Christians would be willing to do. But when it comes to same-sex marriages and those including transgendered people, for some people that is crossing the line, because that really is a topic that they're just not willing to get close to. And if they attend, it's an endorsement, and they cannot participate in that. And I would say a couple of things. First of all, I would say that I would attend without any question. If any of my children, or if one day I have grandchildren, if they were to enter into a same-sex marriage, or one of them became transgender or was marrying a transgendered person, I would attend that wedding without hesitation, because that person is important to me, and it is more important to me to maintain that relationship and have a close relationship with them than to boycott something because of any thoughts I might have about whether that is or is not appropriate. But is that me just being kind of a woke liberal pastor? No, that's not actually where I get that from. I would actually say it's biblical to participate and to celebrate with a couple, even if you may have concerns about the nature of the relationship and whether that is appropriate or not. So again, for the sake of argument, we're going to just assume that such a wedding is sinful. What would Jesus do? That's the question. Well, when we look at the Gospels, one of the strongest criticisms against Jesus by the religious people, which is very interesting, is that he was spending his time with the wrong kind of people, and specifically that he was eating and drinking with prostitutes and tax collectors. And you might say, well, that's just eating and drinking, so that's not really that important. I mean, we have lunch meetings all the time. You know, it's not really that big of a thing. But in ancient Jewish culture, having a meal with someone and raising a glass with someone, that was a very intimate experience. And that's why the religious leaders were understanding exactly what Jesus was doing there, that he was saying that these people were important, and that he valued them, and that he wanted to be in that kind of relationship with them, that they would be able to share a meal and to share a drink and to be together in fellowship like that. That was something that the religious leaders understood what he was saying there, and because they were convinced that they were the wrong kind of people, they saw Jesus as doing something that was very, very bad. Now, some people are going to try to assume that, well, yeah, those were ex-prostitutes and ex-tax collectors. They are people who have repented and who are now on the straight and narrow. But it never says that. It never suggests that they had given that up. It seems as if Jesus actually was with tax collectors and with prostitutes. And some of the other examples we have when he has a meal with some people that we might think are questionable, he gets criticized for it. And we don't get a sense that Jesus is sitting there thinking, if I have this meal, what if someone thinks that I'm saying now that prostitution is okay, or tax collecting for the Romans, that's okay. He doesn't seem to be worried that he is endorsing anything. The focus for Jesus is that he values these people, he values that relationship, he loves them, and he's going to demonstrate that love in a very practical way. And I think that's what happens when we attend a wedding, even if we might disagree with certain aspects of it, that we are valuing that person and we are demonstrating love. Jesus said that his disciples will be known by their love for one another. Love is the way we show that we are followers of Jesus. Not by taking a strong stand and saying, well, I am not going to go because I have a strong feeling about this. I have a conviction against this, and I'm going to boycott this, and I'm going to feel good about myself for having done it. I have some questions about that if that's really the most Christ-like thing to do. I think that if Jesus was here today and there was a same-sex wedding, I actually think that Jesus would attend that. You may debate whether or not he would agree with that wedding, but I think that he would be there, whether he thought it was right or whether he thought it was wrong. Those are my thoughts. So I will conclude by saying that I think that Alistair Begg gave the right advice there, that grandmother should attend that wedding and should buy a gift. The demonstration of love by attending far outweighs any message, any positive message that would come from boycotting it. And I think not attending sends a strong negative message, which is going to just close all means of communication. So that's where I land. What about you? What do you think? Did Alistair Begg make the right call? I would love to hear from you. Please visit my website, stephenjbedard.com. Thank you and God bless.